Ready.
Cool. Likewise.
Um,
Well, it's a pleasure. I
yeah,
thought I'd
pleasure.
start off with a little fun story.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never met you in real life, but I've been a huge fan on the internet. And
Oh man, the internet, huh?
I actually, so I have seen you in real life. I lived in Austin in like 2012,
Okay.
and I remember seeing you play like it was like 183 in like Mopac. I think it's called the Exchange or something like that.
The exchange.
Yeah,
What is that,
it
man?
was like a mini mall kind of thing. It was like an outside thing. I'm
Oh, you
pretty.
mean the domain?
No, yeah, that's what it is. That's what it is.
Yes, yes.
And like, yeah, you played there, right?
Yes, I used to play there a lot. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah, I was like, I remember like there was always this thing, and I was like, there's this great guitar player, and then I finally put it together like not that long ago, and I was like, holy shit, that was you. But I had you, and I was like, damn, I wish I would have hit you up for a lesson at that time because at
Oh
that
man.
time I was really like taking a lot of lessons, and
Yeah.
I had a lot of money at that time too, but more than I have now, I guess, not a lot, but
Yeah. Nice, man.
it was like my parents were supporting me. I was like 18, and I was like in college. I had like some scholarship money. I was like paying my.
Nice, nice,
I don't know.
nice.
It was very funny though, and
Oh, that's cool. So we actually crossed paths then in person.
once or twice, and yeah, but now here we are on the computer.
Yeah, man. In a computer. I know. This crazy world, man. Awesome. Well, thanks for having me, man. It's a pleasure.
Dude, of course. I think the second time I stumbled on you was my brother's really into playing Latin music, and he introduced me to you, and then I found out about you through Yannick, which I think is pretty cool. I didn't know that you
Nice.
guys were homies and playing together and stuff. That's
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
He's a monster. I like his playing a lot.
Nice, man. Yannick's great. And
He's cool. I'm
yeah, Yannick was one of the cats who really kind of encouraged me to be really kind of active with the social media thing and the podcast thing. I started pretty much because he was like nagging me about it like for a long time, dude. Because I play some of the stuff. It's like, dude, you gotta put this on video,
yeah.
and him and my other buddy that we have the same buddies basically. Justin Vasquez, a saxophone player, plays
Okay.
with me a lot, and he's also friends of Yannick. That's how I met Yannick, through Justin.
Okay.
But the both of them are really, because there's this whole thing about when you're like in a relaxed state, hanging out and stuff, and I'm their house on a guitar, or where they're hanging out with me, whatever. I'm usually like with a guitar, just talking and just playing, just moving my
Yeah.
fingers, right?
Totally.
And somehow I was playing some stuff that is like, dude, you gotta have this thing like on a video so people can experience that kind of sort of like informal setting. That's when you're talking about all the stuff, because I'm just playing and they're like hitting at something. Oh yeah, that thing, and then I do some things and like, dude, you gotta
Yeah.
have that on a thing. So Yannick has this podcast. Well, he's just practicing, right? Just practicing
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
talking
I've been
about it.
watching that. That's awesome.
And he was starting to have guests, basically. That now he has guests on the podcast, and then he invited me to be the first one because he wanted to start these things and just kind of sharing the practice routines of people and how they deal with that, whatever. So I did the first one,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Yeah. I watched that. It was awesome, dude.
yeah, and then he was like, man, you gotta start doing your thing. And then I was like, man, you know what, I'm gonna do it. And then I started the next few days after that, whatever. And I'm now like 35, 36 episodes in, like every day trying to do
Yeah.
this thing.
I've watched
And
quite a few of them. I hate to say I haven't watched every day, but I
oh
watched.
man, I'm glad you watched one. But yeah, it's been fun. And this whole weird corona situation we live in, it just making it just creating some kind of routine
Yeah.
for us, which I think
That.
it's important to kind of keep the sanity in a way.
Yeah. My routine's been slipping the last couple of days. I've been pretty good about it up until this week, but I've just like been sleeping in, and like I don't know. I've
Mhm.
been feeling very unmotivated the last 2 or 3 days or something. I'm like I gotta break this, but
Yeah, man.
it's whatever. I've been working hard though. I think so. If I'm
Yeah,
taking a few days off, it's all right. I feel like I've been doing more shit recently than ever before, even though I'm not really leaving the house. There's just like
Oh, me too, man.
so many things that like I guess that I just left unattended, or because I was so busy I just didn't really care as far as a
Exactly.
priority went. And now it's like this will be this trash truck that goes by. But
Nice.
yeah.
What town are you in?
I live in Fort Collins, Colorado.
Oh man, I played there like I think a year or two ago.
It's awesome here, dude.
Yeah, I loved it, man. It's Colorado is like on my bucket list. Like I would live in Colorado like tomorrow.
Dude, as someone who lived in Texas all my life, it's the same exact price.
Really?
Yeah, that was like one of the bigger reasons. Dad and I mean, you can attest to this too. I'm sure. Like, dude, there's so many people in Texas that just stay in Texas forever. And
Yeah, I noticed that.
I was born there. I was born in Dallas. Then I moved to Austin, moved to San Antonio. San Marcos area. Kind of did that thing. And then I went to college in Denton and studied guitar over there. And Denton specifically, I was like, everybody I know is either working for the university or just working some like part-time food job or something.
Uh-huh.
And they, or they play music and they just play with the same people and they play at church or something. And it was just like, there's so much more to see. And then I kind of just, wanted to go somewhere. And then I don't really know why I was looking in Fort Collins specifically, but it kind of just popped up. It was definitely cheaper. And than like living in Denver. Denver can be expensive, but not anymore. It seems like it's kind of taming down. It's like $1,500 is still a steep price for a one-bedroom apartment, but there's a lot of gigs over there, and it kind of balances out. And even here, like I only pay like $600 for a room, and it's like pretty feasible just to play guitar and do that. And before, I was paying like $900 when I was living in Denton. So it's it's pretty relative, and gas is about the same, and I don't know, just different people to play with, more stuff to see, and it's definitely more beautiful. And I don't know, personally, I'm huge into weed, so that was just keeping my ass out of jail was another plus.
Man, I have been wanting to visit Colorado for many, many, many years, and it's kind of being my like on back of my mind. It's like, man, I gotta see those mountains, whatever. And then
the
I can
mountains are
enjoy
badass.
some.
The mountains are badass. The other thing I'll say is I've had more gigs here than I've ever had in my entire life.
Oh, that's good, man.
I probably play like 5 to 8 times a week, and that's pretty sick. Like
that's a good thing.
Back in the days of the old or whatever. But
yeah. I came down in 2016 the first time, and I wanted to drive there. I was in Austin at the time, and I drove like 13 hours or something. But I was just kind of stopping all the way to when I saw some beautiful, I just stopped and just filmed and took pictures. It was kind of a touristy kind of, but I went to do a little tour with my friend. Peter Stolzman was a beautiful piano player, and we have stuff together. We did an album that time.
Oh, wow.
And then a couple of years later, 2018, so I came down again. I went in the fall, and then next time I came the end of the spring, like in May.
Okay.
So we could release an album, and then we did play more places. So I played Fort Collins, I played Boulder twice, and Denver and a bunch of places. But man, what a beautiful place, man! I really want to come back so badly.
It's cool. It's cool, man. Anytime, just hit me up.
Man.
I don't plan on leaving anytime soon. I'll say that.
Nice.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool over here. It's not a bad place to be stuck for the quarantine business. It's like, oh, I guess I'll just go roam in the mountains where no one is. That's
exactly. You gotta escape route.
Yeah, man. It's been cool. What have you been trying to record anything outside of the podcast since all this?
I am actually as you mentioned, I'm going through this kind of a similar process, but I am getting busier now with the quarantine actually. So I'm doing way more things than I was doing because we get stuck into the routine of playing gigs and stuff like that, and things that actually matter to you, sometimes you kind of put them aside for a little bit. This whole situation kind of made me really see that how much we took stuff for granted, in a lot of ways. And I'm right now I'm really focused on my things that I should be attending to. So I'm doing besides the whole podcasting, I'm like remote recording for a lot of people, projects and stuff. Cool. And recording my own things. And I'm about to launch this little channel, YouTube channel project with my friend, a producer from Brazil, is a drummer and a
Oh,
good friend of mine, and he plays with me on all my albums since like 2015 or so,
holy shit.
13 basically.
That's cool.
Yeah, we have been setting up this collaboration kind of channel where
Mhm.
we invite people to record with us, and
Wow.
then they send their video feed and stuff, and I edit out, and Thiago does the mixing and stuff.
Oh,
So
say
we already
that's the
kind of like,
dream right there, honestly. That's
it's a lot of work, and
yeah.
we are already like prepping like 4 episodes,
Mm.
because we want to launch and have stuff to just launch every week, and then we keep
Yeah,
adding to it.
that's how I
But
do this thing too.
yeah, it's already a little laborious to like assemble everybody in the schedules and get them to record and film, and hey, you
I
gotta
agree.
film this way, you gotta. And but it's been fun, and this is the thing I'm doing, and I'm finishing up I recorded a new album in December. I went to Brazil at my friend's big studio they have there, and he's finishing the mixing of the album, and I'm really excited about this one because it's a pretty cool like original new thing. I'm releasing probably a couple of months or so. So a lot
Okay.
of things happening, but the whole quarantine thing, stuck at home vibe has been uh, you know horrible for a lot of people and not that comfortable for me as well. But I must say that it really kind of gave me the focus and drive to really focus on what is important. So
Yeah, sure. A couple questions I just thought of while you're talking about that stuff.
sure.
What is your preferred way of receiving like recordings for you to record over them? Do you want like the whole project? Like some people are trying to send me like whole Logic files, and I'm like, I really don't want that. Like that's just a lot of memory. And then like do you just want the WAV files and then you just send them
Yeah,
track?
yeah. I mean, now we are in a sort of like an unbelievable time where
Yeah.
technology has just advanced so much.
Sure.
You don't need a whole project.
No, yeah, sure. I agree with that.
Um, what I usually ask for is some kind of a audio reference, some kind of stereo audio. Sometimes I have to start the project, whatever the stuff will be recorded on top of my guitar.
Oh,
So
okay.
when I have to be kind of started, I ask for, let's say, some kind of click guidance,
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is on this click, and some kind of a part that I can read, any kind
Right.
of shape or form. But I have done things where there was a very detailed like click automation.
Hmm.
So the person sent me that click file
Okay.
and told like an audio click file, but also with the map on what bar, what click does what. So
Yeah.
I managed to do that in my project and put that file in there. So I was kind of aware, just sonically and visual, what was going on. So okay, I gotta do a rallentando here, and then I prepared. I was setting that up. But man, I would say like 90% of the time it's just like people send a stereo file
Yeah.
and
Cool.
tell me what click it is, and I just track the guitar on top. How
Well,
about with you?
I'm man, it's all over the place. If I could get a chart, I guess I would add to that. Like I agree with everything you said.
Yeah.
It's not a necessity that I need a chart, but it would make it faster. And especially if it's
Yes.
more complicated, and I don't have to just sit there and be like, okay, what is this? And I do like knowing what you would call something versus how I would call something.
Yes.
Because I think I have good ears, but it just depends. Like you could say C minor with the flat six, or you could say like A flat major in first inversion or something. It just depends on like what you
Exactly.
want. But to me, those
Exactly.
are like different things. But
For me
uh,
too.
yeah, so I don't know. I guess that, and then yeah, a lot of people are just trying to send me their whole thing, and it's like, dude, I really don't want that. And I don't know.
Yeah.
I've been experimenting also with collaborating and stuff, and it's just like everyone just seems to want different things, and it's like it's kind of not a headache, but I'm just
Yeah.
not logically savvy, I guess. So it's like sometimes I have to really like do my homework to be like, oh, well, let me figure out how to, transfer you my whole Logic file and, delete all
Mhm.
my plugins or whatever the scenario is. It's just like, it's a big learning curve. But
Yeah. I mean, it happens exactly with me. For instance, um, I definitely would love to have some kind of chart to look at,
yeah,
because what I notice is that a lot of people are not very careful with whatever they're sending as a chart. It's whatever their sketch thing was, and then the recording is different sometimes.
Yeah, I'm guilty of that too.
So I listen to the recording and figure out what the chart is, but then say, okay, this is not the chord, but I'll go with whatever the recording, whatever
Yeah,
voicing the
yeah,
guy's doing. Um, what happens also is, um, especially now that we have the video element so like, coupled with audio nowadays, like basically 100% of what I did uh, the past month was in video as well. So people want the video.
yeah.
Uh, and that can be something you have to pay attention to, because
Sure.
I'm editing video myself. So in this project, I'm telling you, sometimes people do like 10 takes of a stuff, and they
Okay.
get this perfect take, but there's gonna be video, and then they send me video with like all this crossfade and stuff. So I have to like do some kind of
Mm. I hate
surface
editing.
editing. So
It's
what I'm trying to do is, if I'm doing video, which is most of the time, I have to like put an effort to nail the thing in one take.
yeah,
You know,
sure.
I
No, I
practice,
agree
I
with that.
practice a lot.
It's
The thing.
it's really hard to like, if say like you're saying, like you take a good audio take and then you try to overdub the video, it's like 10 times longer.
No, no, you shouldn't do that.
Yeah, you should
Um,
just, like record it and just kind of call it. And I think somebody told me this, and it makes more sense now, especially with the video thing, where it's like a recording is only a moment in time that you're capturing, rather than
yeah,
I don't know, trying to put it on this pedestal or something of it being this holy entity or something. I think there's a lot of intimidation that can come with that, especially when you're recording video. But it's like, well, if you have a flub or whatever, just like use that as your take and just sync it all up. And
yeah. I mean, the video, people need to accept that video took over. Video won, man.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
here we are. We're in video.
A long time
You
ago,
know?
I was watching this
Yeah.
magazine, Salt Magazine. I'll give them a plug. But they were talking about, especially during this time, how kind of audio is extremely irrelevant right now, where it's like just dropping a Bandcamp link or a SoundCloud thing or whatever is like useless. Like people like want to watch a video. And I'm even contemplating, and I should just re-release everything I've made this year in a music video form, just whether it's like some BS
Mhm.
GoPro footage or something or whatever, if it's some nature footage or something, I don't know, just literally anything. It could be a picture, but as long as it's in a video format, I think somebody is more likely to click on it now.
But there's a catch there, though.
Yeah.
There's a catch there, and I'll tell you what it is. Like, people are drawn to video,
Mm.
100%. Video one, there's no debate about it. But in our case, who are musicians who deals with audio, you gotta have good audio, man.
Oh, sure,
Like,
sure.
because you, in a trade-off between video and audio, people will accept a lesser video but with great audio and besides as a musician. If I'm like zapping on Instagram or whatever, and I see this drummer filming himself practicing whatever, there are a bunch of them now,
Yeah.
and you have like a crappy kind of shot, but the audio is awesome. I'm instantly drawn to that rather than beautiful
Sure.
24-piece cinematic thing they add out from their iPhone,
Yeah.
So I think the secret is always plugging in great audio to the
I
thing.
agree with that. I agree with that. I feel, it's such a necessity. My friend, he's kind of older, Michael Brown, but he was doing kind of a live stream thing, and he's on, like a virtual show with other artists, and then
Okay.
so it's like this chick and then him and then this girl like Shauna in a dress or something like that, and he's like comparing himself to like these other people, and I was like, dude, people really just kind of skip past you because everyone just wants to click on this girl who's in a dress, and that's lame. But I was like, you have to be killing with the audio because of things like that. So like that's like the only shred of hope I feel like that I have over this cute girl is like that hopefully I sound really good.
Well, yeah, there is that. You gotta have good audio, but I would also say that if you are competing with a girl dressed like this, you're in the wrong. It is the wrong audience.
True.
You should go for your niche or whatever people into, like that fits your thing, rather than trying to spread yourself too thin, trying to do everything.
Yeah,
because you can't
the thing with
compete
that, I
against
guess,
that
is
now.
like it was like a I don't know if he knew that he was going up against these girls. It was kind of like he just signed up for this virtual show, and then they released the lineup, and he was just like smack dab in this place that was just not the most convenient or marketable for him. I feel like, and it was just interesting, I guess, talking about the quality because his video was like okay, and then his audio was like okay, and these other girls sounded good too. So it was like
Yeah, you gotta have good audio.
he
I
got
guess
pinned,
that's
bro.
the
He got pinned,
that's
but
the point. If you're musicians, you gotta have good audio,
yeah,
because people will pass on somewhat, okay
yeah,
video, but great audio. It
yeah,
just like,
it keeps you there.
you know, definitely.
My other question was, how is recording an album in Brazil different from the States?
Um, well, nowadays is not that different. I mean, if you were on a top notch studio in Brazil, it's like not very different from
Sure.
what we have here. Of course, here we can, and people can afford more stuff. In Brazil, everything's so expensive, but the
Okay.
great studios, they have on pair, like equipment and stuff like that. So my friend has a huge studio in São Paulo, the big studios over there, um, and he's been doing that for 25, 30 years, and recorded with everybody. And he's a great engineer, so I sometimes I flew him here to produce stuff here. But for me, the thing about just doing it in Brazil is just because he's not only the drummer in the projects that I do, but he's also the producer. So
Sure.
he has all the infrastructure there. Um, uh, his partner and wife, and also does the videography of the whole thing.
Cool.
And so the
Yeah.
studio is set up for
Big deal.
audio and video. They're really smart about it. Um, and also the main thing for me was just the musicianship
Mm,
uh, of the project, of whatever the music I wanted. Like I had to do with the Brazilian cats,
yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Sure.
so
Great.
that was a motivator for me to just do it there, because otherwise I would have to fly them here to do it here, and that would be costful,
Yeah.
because I have to rent the studio and stuff. And over there, he has everything,
Mm,
so it's easy to cut a deal with everything. I
sure.
managed to get like a couple video shots from the session, and the musicians are there, so it's just easier to just move me into there.
Sure.
Everything's there but me, so I just go there instead of move everything else here. And even with instrument, for instance, I have a great friends there also. And I have this good friend, David. He does a lot of stuff for me, my logos, my art, whatever. But
Hmm.
he also has a bunch of instruments, so whenever I want to record something, I just grab stuff from him.
Right on.
And for this particular album, I grabbed this electric guitar, because it's all electric guitar on this album. Just
Okay.
one track with
Yeah.
acoustic in the background. Um, but I grabbed this guitar from him, and I just fell in love with this guitar. So I did the whole album and this guitar over there, and
Sure.
I bought it from him. So I said, "Man, I did the whole album. You gotta sell me this guitar." And then he didn't want to sell it, but it was like a couple weeks, on
Yeah.
his case. Like, man, So I managed to get a deal. So I brought the guitar with me. So it's been my main guitar, my electric,
Cool.
for a few months now. So I'm really happy about it. But anyways, yeah, that's the main reason to do it. The project in Brazil is just because this type of sound and music and concept that I want, I needed those guys to do it.
Yeah. Right on. That's cool.
Yeah.
Huge fan of Brazilian music in general. I just recently re-downloaded the Villa Lobos Etudes
Mm.
Preludes.
Yes.
I haven't read all of them. I don't. I was trying to think of how many I've read. Not that many. Maybe five of each. Maybe if that's
Uh-huh.
a high number. But
It is. It
uh,
is. Yeah.
and I don't know. I recently. I'm sure you know Julian Lage. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
He released a video of him playing like a gold top Les Paul the other day, and
Mm.
it was amazing. It was beautiful. And then
Oh
on his
yeah.
stuff though, he had the Villa Lobos Etudes and Preludes, and I was like, damn. And it
Yeah.
sounded like he was playing that shit. Honestly, I was like, that's
Yes.
you need to go
Yeah,
back and
man.
deep on that.
Villa Lobos seems to be a great like companion for a lot of guitarists.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe like I feel like it's a rite of passage or something. Like you should
Exactly.
read it. Like
Exactly.
Bach, the violin stuff. Like I felt like all that's super.
Exactly.
But
You
I
you kind of have to go through Villa Lobos on the guitar, especially on the nylon, the acoustic, the classical, as they call.
sure.
But I'm seeing a lot of like electric guitarists. They kind of go to Villalobos as well to get a bunch of different things from it. But yeah,
Yeah.
I love
Yeah, I don't really
Villalobos, man.
know like what I'm after, obviously, the voicings and stuff. And the groove and the harmony is just so strange. Like the way he like modulates and his ideas and stuff like that. It's just so not what
Yes,
you hear today, I guess.
he's a interesting cat. There's a movie about his life.
Really?
Um,
I'll check it out.
yeah, Brazilian movie. I have actually owned this DVD. You know,
Okay.
DVDs. Remember this thing, DVDs?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I own.
I don't even think I have a DVD player. I have like a PlayStation
I don't
DVD.
have a DVD player anymore. I have it in my car though. But
Okay.
it's here. The DVDs are here, and I missed the chance of actually ripping them into the computer because now the computers don't have drives anymore, like
I
media
just have
drives, whatever.
Jack on mine.
Um, but yeah, there's a movie about his life is very very kind of well done, and
Okay.
you can see different phases, and it was an interesting cat.
Yeah,
Um,
dude. I don't even have a classical guitar. Now that you say that, I should get one.
you
Uh,
don't have one? Oh, you gotta have one, man.
I know. I actually grew up playing classical guitar. My dad went to school for classical guitar.
Oh, nice.
He took a lesson with Segovia somehow. I don't know
Really?
how that happened, but
Wow. He
he
studied with a master.
yeah, it's his claim to fame. And
Nice.
he went to North Texas, and now he just is a computer programmer for Southwest. But he continued.
Okay.
And it's funny. He was always, told me, he's like, once I had you, and I was making more money than my guitar teacher working at a bank. And I was like, that's probably true. And
Man, you know what a funny thing is? I don't know if you noticed that, but a lot of people who are into music,
mhm.
they are into computers.
Yeah.
Like I have a lot of students, they're older, and they're all in computer business.
Hmm.
And I have some musicians that they turn into computer guys, or current musicians they're still deal with computers, or great musicians who also knew and had interested in computer. For instance, you know
They
uh
have to go
the,
so hand to
the,
hand.
yeah, the great, the god like Lyle Mace,
Sure.
who passed away a few months ago. He
Yeah.
was a great computer guy.
Really.
He was into, oh yeah, he was into CC programming and all kind of stuff. He was into this kind of language as well, and let
Well,
alone the whole
especially
synth
back in that
wizardry.
day, you had to be like, I mean, thinking of Herbie was the next person that came to mind. Was like, homie was like an engineer, and he like,
Herbie too also dealt with electric engineer, I guess, dealt with synths and stuff like that,
yeah,
because I think that's where the intersection is, like this whole synth kind of building and stuff like that. They kind of intersect somewhere, and now with the computer, like the app kind
mhm.
of ecosystem, a lot of musicians are getting into that thing to do even musical apps. You
Yeah,
know,
dude,
I
I've thought
have.
about making an app. I have no idea how I'd even go about doing that. I've thought about it for years, and I don't even know anyone who makes an app.
Oh man, yeah, I have friends who do that, and it's a language, they have to get into, and a language that more and more younger people are getting introduced to at early age. It
Yeah,
seems that, I hear this a lot. It's like, oh, we got to learn how to code when you're young because that's going to be the future, whatever. I keep hearing that. I don't know if it's going to be the truth, but it's another language, I myself love that
yeah,
technology and stuff like that, and I try to get my hands on. And at some point I was messing around with that Swift. Is this programming language from Apple?
okay.
I think there's a platform that they launched like years ago, they can use to build their apps and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
So I was experimenting a little bit with that, but I didn't go that far. But I was curious enough to kind of go and look into that. But yeah, it's funny that when I hear, this guy's a computer programmer, I said, well, he's into music for sure as
Yeah,
well, and vice versa. I don't know why. I got to find the connection, but there's a bunch of intersections in
yeah,
there,
yeah. Dude, it's got to be something. I'm not really sure. I mean, yeah, I think it's just most of the time you have to have some sort of technology to be a musician, whether you're a keyboard player or especially guitar. And if you're looking into audio or video or any of that shit, you're already balls deep into the technology land. It's like the number of things you need to record audio and video are pretty lengthy.
Oh
And
yeah, and I mean, especially nowadays. I mean, being a musician nowadays, it means a very different thing from what it meant, 34 years
I agree
ago.
with that. Sure,
The
dude.
the amount of like
Well,
hats there have to be put
yeah.
on now together, it's
Oh,
big.
how
You
many
know?
would you say that there are? I could think of quite a few myself.
Oh yeah, me too. I would say, I mean, now if you're like in 2020,
Yeah.
you're a musician, let alone being a musician,
Mhm.
which it requires your entire life, basically, right? But adding to that, you gotta be, you know, basic, understanding of audio
Mhm.
recording
Yeah.
and mixing and mastering.
That's
You
so hard.
gotta be able to.
Mixing and mastering, I think, is like a thing that people don't consider as like important, maybe, or it's just like, oh, I could do that, or
Oh,
something.
it's super
You,
important.
you really need like some material to do that. Like you need monitors, you need to have good headphones, you need to have
Exactly.
pretty decent plugins, you need to be able to do hours of research on frequencies and EQ and compression and like
Yes, to at least
decibels.
understand things, to understand what your instrument is and where it rings, and
Yeah,
what is the profile of the instrument. Like,
just
I'm
those
not.
few words are like hours and hours of months of study. And that's it's so silly that you just like, yeah, you have to be a video person and then you got to mix and master it, and it's just like you like those things are huge, like so.
They are, but you don't need to be an audio engineer, but you have to be able to deliver a minimum standard.
Sure.
When I say by mastering, you need to understand what it is first.
Mhm.
You need to understand where your instrument fits into all that. So, for instance, when I deliver like a song I recorded, right? Some send me stuff. Okay, record this guitar here.
Yeah.
So I get the track done, right? So I do my mixing because I have my template in Logic
Hmm.
ready to go with all my guitar set up and mixed already, and EQs and everything. I have an output with some mastering plugins already,
Okay.
so I know how the guitar sounds and how it's supposed to sound. So
Hmm.
what I usually do is I send the mix of my guitar that I think it just kind of like speaks to what I think should be
Yeah.
my personal sound.
Mhm.
Okay, you asked for my guitar on this. This is my guitar on it. Boom, I send that. But I
Yeah.
also send a raw
Mm.
mic preamp recording of
Sure.
it.
No
I
plug.
send that to,
Just
but to be experimented with. You have my reference, which is what I think should be. You can use that if you want, or you can take your own and mix because maybe you want to do some crazy shit, but
sure.
whatever. But I also send the reference track that I was given with my guitar with it, so you can hear the context with
Okay.
my guitar in it, so how it sounds. And usually I put my sound in it. So usually it kind of win that battle. People use the guitar I sent.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I mean, the point is, you gotta understand that stuff. You gotta understand, where your guitar sits on a mix. You know, if it has drums and bass and keys or whatever, like you're not gonna get that full body guitar sound because you compete with many things. So
Mhm.
if you don't understand that, you gotta understand that. So that's the audio mixing and mastering aspect I'm talking about. I'm
Yeah.
not saying you should be an engineer, but you need to understand. For instance, if I'm producing a video for YouTube, I already have my master plugins that kind of puts the level into a thing that will be on people's phone because
Yeah.
that's where people are watching videos.
Agree with that.
But
The phone.
aside from that,
The phone mix is like an entirely different thing. I've been learning that where it's like which one is true or accurate, maybe I'm not sure the word to use, but it's like if you're mixing on just your computer and it's like, okay, I'm using my computer speakers, okay, now I'm using my monitors, okay, now I'm using my headphones, now I'm using my PA speaker, now I'm mixing in my car, it's like everything sounds a little bit different. It's hard to know which one is like the most accurate. But
yeah,
with
but
the
you
phone,
gotta have a good
like
reference that will sound cool.
that kills everything, like for the reason you're saying, where it's like the phone I think is the most true because 99% of the time someone is going to listen to it on the phone.
Exactly.
So
And there is a video aspect that I was talking about, right? So to tie everything, you gotta do video. Like if you don't know how to shoot a video,
mm,
if you don't know how to light a video,
yeah, the
if
light is
you
big.
don't know how to edit a video, if you don't know how to make a file of different sorts of sizes or whatever for Instagram, you know, I'm
Yeah,
just setting up right now like this.
compression, audio, and everything like that too. It's like you have to know how high to set it because so and so kills it so much, and everyone does their own thing. I think even iTunes taints the music a little bit differently than Logic does. I don't know if you can.
Well, yeah, iTunes used to have this protocol. Um, it's called mastering for iTunes, master for iTunes, whatever.
Okay.
You used to do like the mastering engineers, when you get the album for mastering, they used to give you also a file just for iTunes
Huh.
with this
Interesting.
with this protocol they call mastered for iTunes. They do a few different things because supposedly, you go to this platform, it should sound a certain way, but I think Apple shut that off. Like, they don't have that protocol anymore. um, but there's audio for audio sake, there's audio for video.
Yeah, true. True.
So you have to know that
Yeah.
nowadays. You have to know this.
Other things I could think of, you gotta book your own shows. You gotta
Yeah.
be able to facilitate the things that we're talking about. Like, you gotta be able to know, like, somebody to record your own shit. If you can't do it yourself, you gotta know people with studios. You gotta know, how to make charts. You gotta know how to, communicate rehearsals and, I don't know, graphic design. That's another big one.
That's
Like,
not a big one.
I see you on your videos too, talking about like editing and stuff. It's like you're like putting up your shit, your Instagram and your Facebook things. Those things look nice. It's like,
Yeah, it's a graphic element, that
yeah,
kind of punch up the video. And man, those are things that I just learned in the process. And on videos, I saw this plugin. Oh man, that's cool. That's what this thing does. Let me try it. And I bought it and
yeah,
buy it, and it's like, try whatever. And you keep experimenting, and you find things that works for you. I
yeah.
think one thing that is important to mention is that when you have so much to do with all this stuff we're talking about, but you have to find your workflow
Yeah.
in the midst of all this. If you have a system that works, then you get it done. For instance, like, when we finish this, I'm going to record the podcast, and I already have a system in place. I have a routine. I have my mic. I open the thing. I have the template thing for recording. I set up the lights. I set up the camera right here. I film. Boom. I put it away. Get the card. Load to Facebook. Not Facebook. Sorry, to Final Cut. And then I'm mixing the audio. Then I upload to podcast while the video is already rendering. Then I take the project and write. So I'm like already prepping posts for this and for that, whatever text is. So when the things, I may start working on the thumbnail, which is important nowadays too.
True.
There's a language in there they have to understand as well. And those are things I need to know. I just start learning, and once I want this part of my system, and then you get a sort of a protocol on what you do. So once you get that thing figured out, it's easier and more effective. So you gotta come up with a workflow, basically.
Yeah. I've got a few workflows, I would say. As far as booking back in the day, I would set aside 3 whole days a week for just booking shows. And
Wow.
I like wake up as early as I could, 7 or 8 or something, make some coffee. And I would just literally, and this is the only way I could get myself to practice too, is if I would wake up and I would make coffee and I would sit down, and I wouldn't be able to get up, like self-rule that I couldn't leave unless I drank the whole pot of coffee. That's only 2 cups, but like, if I'm just sitting there and playing guitar for 2 cups of coffee, which would turn into like an hour or hour and 30 minutes pretty easily. But, if I didn't do it like that, I wouldn't play guitar for, maybe an hour or something. And it'd be like until 3 o'clock would hit real quick. And I'd be like, man, I haven't even practiced yet. But I had to practice first thing in the morning. Otherwise I would go the whole day almost. And sometimes I wouldn't practice, or I'd practice for 10 minutes or something and be like, this is not enough. I need to make time to practice in the morning. Then I would book, and then I would like send as many emails as I could, call as many people, blah, blah, blah. And then like once 5 o'clock hit, I would go practice again. And then I would try to start like recording some stuff, kind of maybe just like a beat or a ditty or whatever, just some idea, literally put anything down. And, my recording thing kind of changed too when I was doing it like that, because I thought everything was really guitar centric, but it was like I needed to have the drums and the tempo figured out and the bass line, even though I already had all the chords and the melody figured out. But it would sound way different if I was trying to put the guitar to match everything to the guitar versus if I put the guitar in to the mix, if that makes sense. So I avoided a lot of problems and saved time, I guess, because every time I would start just guitar, I would like go end up re-recording it because I was like, this doesn't sound right for some reason, or I'm doing too much or whatever. And I would just go back and be like, oh, well, now the guitar should just be like this, super done, really easy, super fast. But dude, it was took me a long time to figure out just like how my own body and mind worked for me to kind of trick myself to be productive, like you're saying, like if you just go at it blindly, I feel like there's for me it was a lot of anxiety where I would just get kind of like stressed and be like, holy shit, I have too much stuff to do. And
totally
if you already have it mapped out in like a system, I think like
totally
it's stressful.
Exactly. And because that's stressful because you're always behind stuff.
Yeah, true. True.
You just, things are just passing you, and then you're trying to follow it, trying to just be pretty much, with your head above water. That's why, and that's a good thing you're talking about, is like it raises that question. So where, you're talking about all this stuff, it's like, well, where does practice chimes in on this process, so that's why, like, I have everything kind of spread around me. Whatever time I get here, I'm doing whatever watching. I take my guitar and it's just moving my fingers. Yeah, exactly. Because you have to have stuff like available and around. Exactly.
On the desk.
Oh, nice. Beautiful, man. Because otherwise you get so like overwhelmed with all this other stuff that is also nowadays more important than ever.
Yeah.
True. But you can't forget your musician, man. First, you gotta play notes. You gotta be on top of the technique. You gotta do all the stuff, musicians, in general, art people need to realize, and a bunch of them do, but some don't, that this is just another skill set now.
Yeah.
Along with whatever you build your life on, this is as important as that now. You have to build that skill set. You gotta be able to do it.
It's a standard. I even think with the recording, stuff, there's a lot of standards. Like, we already talked about the light in the video, but it's like, there's a lot of people really want to hear stuff to a click track. A lot of people really want to hear vocals, a little bit auto-tuned. People want to hear the bass, at this certain frequency and blah, blah, blah. It's like, there's so many standards of like what is correct. And like, the audio and the video thing is like number one, it's like, and I kind of funny too, even still, it's like, there's so many people who just kind of like are living in the dark on social media. And it's like,
oh, good luck with that.
Yeah. It's like, dude, now's the time.
Good luck with that, man.
It's kind of funny. You see all these people, who are like amazing people, like who have been playing for 30, 40 years or something. And they're like, oh, I just now got on Instagram yesterday. It's like, damn, it's crazy that it took COVID for everybody to be like, oh, we should have been caring about this a long time ago.
And
I'm guilty of that too.
Dude, a month ago, a guy that worked here in town called me. It's like, hey, man, so I want to figure out this online thing. I think I'm just thinking about making some videos and just posting online. And I was like, oh, okay. So you came from like 1985,
Yeah.
Like, of course you should be doing that every day for like 15 years already.
Sure. Sure.
I guess the answer for that, I would say, I hope people, they won't be in the dark on social media. Man, if I had the money to not be aware, not need to do that, I'll be living on a mountain in Colorado and just making great videos I want, and not have social media accounts and just post videos just to post the videos, But as I can't do that right now at the moment, I have to be in the game. You have to be in the game. You have to play the game. You have to be.
That's a good point. That's probably the most important point for me, at least. That makes the most sense, where the only reason I am doing everything I'm doing right now is for money. Like, which is kind of vain to say it like that, but like, the only reason I'm recording, 4 songs, or two or 3 songs every week or something, is because I'm making like $100 off each one of the songs. I mean, the only reason I'm doing the podcast is like because I'm getting to talk to people like you, and that's like helping with the hype, and everyone's getting their word out. only reason I'm doing the virtual shows is making money. Only reason I'm teaching lessons is making money. You know, and
Well,
it's like,
every little bit helps, you know. I think
but I probably would go about it differently, like you're saying, if it wasn't making me money and it was like for fun. But it's like, I guess the things I'm actually investing my time and energy are like things that make me money.
well, it's a balance as everything in life, right? I mean, if you can find a way to balance that out, which is that's what I'm trying to do, is just do
Yeah,
things that I love to do and to be compensated for it, right? That's the
sure.
that's
I
the
think that's
perfect
what
scenario,
success is personally.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's the perfect scenario when you can couple like the things you love to do, and I think those are the things you probably will be successful.
sure.
It's stuff they really good at, you
Hmm.
know, rather than just trying to do something just because you know it makes money or whatever. But everyone has a concept, whatever. But personally, I like to couple that as much as I can. Um, but there's a I was talking to a friend the other day because man, I'm like in my friend circle, I am the I am the annoying guy who is always telling people you have to be doing this and this and this because I get crazy because I see cats with like 55-year-old and they're not posting on Instagram.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
like, man, I don't know. It's like, dude, So the
You
other day I was talking to
for sure.
a friend like such as this one, and he talking for like 2 hours,
Oh, wow.
basically doing the spiel about why social media now is important now more than ever.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and I was telling him that Instagram nowadays used to be the jam session hang, you
Yeah.
know there you go on a Monday night and have a few beers and people playing, musicians are around, and you're talking to them, you're hanging out,
Hmm.
and you such, oh man, such and such is playing with that thing, oh yeah, this cat just went off tour with such and such, and say, hey, what are you doing next week? And then where you connect and stuff like that. That's
Yeah.
Instagram today.
Hmm.
Like, but it's just exploded into the world. So I guess the point I made with my friend was you have to be around now for the whole world, right? You have to be made aware what you're doing, who
Sure.
you're playing with, and what kind of stuff you're doing. So you on people's radar.
Yeah, you
So
got to be present in people's minds. I think it's like you
exactly,
stay
like
stay in their forefront of their thoughts somehow, and that's just seeing you, I think, and hearing you.
exactly. And now you have this platform, they're free,
Yeah.
that you can be at and producing content, and it's helpful because you also need to be aware of what people are doing. You need to be following people to be followed.
Yeah.
You got to be making sure that this cat that releases drum video knows you comment is, oh, this guy saw the video, and
Yeah.
then you comment back, and then
Aging.
when whatever he's thinking of something, it's like, oh man, I'm gonna get Gabriel to play this thing. Hey, you want to do this collaboration? You want to do this? I got like a lot of things like that just out of
I agree.
interacting with
I
people.
agree.
And if you're not playing this game right now,
Yeah.
you're missing, because that's the jam session after that. That's like you
True.
putting your stuff out there, and then because this whole podcast is more podcasts I'm doing. I'm already like
Well,
at
and
36
back to the
episodes.
video thing, it's like you could just stitch. I could grab one of your videos on Instagram and play over you on top of it, like a literal jam session, and then
Exactly.
collaborate.
And some people do, and some people stimulate that now as a way of circulating the stuff. They, okay, here's a challenge, and I'm gonna play this, and then you play along with me, and then you tag me. That's a way to kind of circulate your name and make
Absolutely.
people aware of who you are, what you're doing.
Yeah.
So if you're not aware of where things are right now,
Hmm.
you're behind. So that's the point I was making to my friends. Like, dude,
Yeah.
where's your videos? Like, it's like, oh man, I don't know. It's like, well, I literally told him, you know, uh, he's a drummer. I was like, okay, sit
That's a hard
down on your
thing.
drum.
Yeah.
I
That's
was like,
that's a hard.
I told him, grab your phone, put on a, like a tripod like this,
Yeah.
set up where that you can see your drums. Sit down, press record, and play for half an hour.
That's all it is
Play.
right now, especially because it's like everyone's just sitting on their ass. Like before, anyways, for me, Instagram was only for my gig videos. It was like, here's who I played with last week. Check out this place that I'm playing at, whatever. But now it's like, what is that? You can't do that. You just sit. You just put your phone in front of you and you record whatever you're doing. That's what everyone.
Dude, play it. I said, play it. And then he sent me stuff. Oh, I don't know if it's cool. It's like, I saw his video. It's like, well, there's like 5 Instagram videos already here on this video.
Mm.
From here to here, there's one. From here to here, there's another one. From here to here, there's another one.
Yeah, sure.
So it's sometimes people just need that push to understand that's easier than they think it is.
I
You
agree.
know,
I'm
there
glad.
is a, I was going to say there is a resistance into doing it.
I
That's where people get caught, like,
need.
because they put so many things behind. And I'm gonna tell from a place of a personal experience myself too. This whole podcasting, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do it. Yeah, I'm gonna do it. One day I was like, I'm gonna do it now. Record, boom.
Yeah,
And
right.
once I started, I'm already on 36 episodes, man.
Word up.
I was like, man, I don't know what I'm gonna talk about. Well, record, boom, go. Oh, so then you get the hang of it. Then so you gotta do it. Do it. You
Yeah,
know?
that's been my biggest hang up, especially the last couple of days where it's just like, I'm feeling unmotivated. But in general, if you just hit record and do it and you just put it out too, I think you're your own worst critic and you're the only one who's thinking that you suck. And everyone else is like, oh man,
Good.
everybody
Yeah,
loves whoever. And it's just like, just put it up. You're going to get some good feedback. And I know
exactly.
that's so easy to say, like you're saying, just hit record, but it is really that easy. And
But just because of that, just by doing that for the feedback, it's already you're already good, because you already know where you are, what you need to improve. What,
I think,
man, your lightings, blah blah blah. You
yeah,
know.
I think those things are good though. Like personally, I think if you're putting something on the internet that no one comments about, or even if it's good or bad too, I think for things that are maybe bad or confrontational, I call it stirring the pot, and especially on Facebook, it's good because it's like when no one posts on your shit, it's like it just the algorithm like buries it. But if you're having somebody kind of like debate with you on your feed, people are like reading it. It's like juicy gossip or something. When it's like the other day, I posted this silly little thing about arpeggios,
Mhm.
and this guy was trying to argue with me that it was like a tetrachord or something like that, or that also it was a tetrachord, or that it could have been the pentatonic scale. And I was like, the pentatonic scale is different than a minor seven arpeggio. They're similar, but it's not the same thing. And I was like, you could arpeggio a pentatonic scale, I guess, but like that's not really what I'm talking about. And then some other kids start saying that like, oh, it's a shame that you're saying that minor seven is like your go-to minor chord. But I was like, I'm not going to play a minor major seven over everything. That's like out of context and out of place and not correct. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But it was just like these little comments, and it was like the next thing I knew, it was at like 100 likes. But I've posted other stuff where no one saw it as like confrontational, or that they needed to put some sort of input in there or insight that how I could have improved it or something. But it was like I still stand by what I said, and just because there's like disagreement here, I thought it was like a good thing.
I mean, yeah. I mean, every platform have their own way of curating the content, I would say, right?
Sure.
Some platforms need some kind of a activity,
Mm-hmm.
in order to push your content, whatever. So some
Yeah.
people, like whatever comments, a good or bad, or whatever, but just pushes the post to be
Yeah.
seen and more people see it. But it just, boils down to every platform wants you to pay for traffic,
Yeah.
right? They want you to pay to get your post out. Now, the I guess the age of the organic post
Mm.
has been gone. You
Yeah.
can
Have you
still have
with
something, but
with the advertising at all, like paying for your posts?
I mean, you have to set up pay traffic if you really want to like get
Mm.
something across, like the funnel, right?
Right
If
on.
you want the funnel open, you gotta pay.
Yeah.
And now is Facebook and YouTube and Instagram and all that stuff. You can still get organic traffic somehow, but
Yeah.
not as you used to when you could like blow up just by organic traffic.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, as far as another thing is that you have different platforms, and you also need to understand a bit of how they work,
Mm.
what
I
they're
agree with that.
after. So Instagram has a different model
Mm.
from Facebook or YouTube. you know
Yeah. Yeah. No,
so
it really does.
and it's kind of pretty clear when you just kind of look at it. YouTube is long form. Instagram is super super short, and 1 minute thing, and pretty down to business. And Facebook's a different thing. So you need to be
Yeah.
kind of aware and
I'm
how you
still learning about
spread your
that,
content.
and
you
I've
know
been using each one of them for 10 years plus, and I still feel like I'm learning more about the difference between Instagram and Facebook versus YouTube versus whatever, Twitter versus Snapchat versus, like, they all have a different thing that they do. And the people who are there's people who are successful on each one of them individually at that too. So it's like, even though you might be good at Instagram, you might not be good at Facebook or something, which is kind of crazy, but it's
Yeah,
such a learning process as far as
it
just
is.
social media goes. And I again, back to the other things, it's like, this isn't even about playing the guitar. You know,
Nothing to do with it, but at the same time, you
it's
gotta have that, as your foundation to push the guitar thing.
yeah,
Yeah, I guess some people argue about you like one really like focusing on one platform, and I have some people saying, well, be in all of them. Um, I just think that you should be aware of other platforms and pick, like I said, 2 or 3, whatever they want to work with, but curate the content specifically for that platform, and that takes experimentation,
it
you
does.
know. For instance, my thing, I have the YouTube thing, which is a long form, is full episode, whatever, and I made a 1 minute Instagram bit, and then I just used to make a post on Facebook just with the link from
Yeah,
YouTube.
I've noticed you've been doing that. I mean, huge kudos, because I haven't taken these conversations and dropped them into whatever to trim them down for an Instagram video, and I think that would help with the.
They help, and now they have Instagram TV, which is a sub
Oh,
platform now. They can do the full video thing. So you gotta find which one works
have
for
you
you and
been
what.
uploading the podcast to Instagram TV as well?
I haven't, but
Okay.
I am
Oh,
experimenting with it. I also have the stories thing, which I do a separate
dude, the
content just for
story,
that.
just the damn story. The story, I get more views on the story than I do get on my post most of the time.
Yeah,
And it's like,
it's
I feel like if I'm posting on my story 4 or 5 times out of the day, I could get like 200-300 views on the story alone. And then you go to the same post, the same exact picture or whatever, and it's like
mm-hmm.
20 likes. And it's like, how does this make any sense?
Well, because Facebook is not showing your post for more people, and the
Yeah,
stories, if you're active on the stories, it pops up on people's feed and they just click it. But it's also a different language.
I agree.
Even Facebook, they have 3 different things. But for instance, I'm gonna try out now something like, I'm gonna basically ask people on the stories like, hey, would you like me to upload the full videos over here as well? Yes or no? And then I'll have a good grip on if I should or not, because people are telling me from the analytics and comments that although I'm posting a 1 minute thing, they are going to YouTube to watch the whole thing.
Sure.
So is that my desire to be driving people there, which was because I grew the channel that way, or is that the gratification of giving people the content where they are already? So those are questions that experimentation will answer. And the cool thing about it is that we have tools to gauge and measure that. Like Instagram itself has this, the question box thing has this thing, like a yes or no. And I can ask questions on the story like, do you want this or not? And then you have an answer,
Sure. Yeah, that's man. Yeah, I don't know. Personally, I think anything helps. That's been my favorite thing to say, really, as far as social media goes, where it's like, I'm thinking about getting a TikTok or whatever. It's like, I need to get Twitter. I need to get them all. It's like, and releasing everything on everything, because I think there's specific ones where, like, I could think about, we're talking shit about the people who don't use Facebook or whatever. It's like, I could think of loads of people who don't use Facebook and only use YouTube or whatever, because there's not in that generation. And it's like, okay, well, then I have like some fans who are just on YouTube, again, some fans who are just on Instagram and whatever. It's like, if I could just release it on all of them, I think it would be the best. But I think there is some truth to what you're saying, where it's like, they should be specific, but I don't know. I don't really know.
They are, but like it could be in all of them. That's fine. I'm in a bunch of them, but I'm focusing on a few. But also, one thing that takes time is like where your audience is. You got to find where they are. I already know where they are. So mine is, so you got to like really like discover and experiment and then find out what the demographic is, what age they are, and if the people are more like, I know a certain age is not on Instagram as much, and some of my audience, whatever, is on Facebook, and most people are not, but a lot of people who dig my stuff is.
Yeah.
So should I do some for them or not? Or I know YouTube is good for what I'm trying to do. So it takes a sort of sifting through data
Maybe. Yeah.
and understand where your audience is, because I know people who are only doing Instagram because that's where the audience is.
Yeah.
I know people who only do stories. They
Mm.
never post anything, just stories, and they're making money out
Yeah.
of it. They do
Yeah.
all the business, but the business is Instagram stories. Boom.
That's
That's what I work with.
the thing I would say too is like I do notice that anything I release or post or whatever, I make money off of. And it's like kind of silly that it's like I get so nervous or wrapped up in my head about it where it's like, I'm not going to release this. But it's like every time I do, somebody either hits me up to record or take a lesson or just do something. Like literally anything I do, I feel like it receives some sort of feedback that results in me making money. So it's like really just my own fear for getting back to that. It's just like kind of silly, but
Yeah,
I
we have
do
our
agree. I think there's a lot of studying to be done on the social media, and dude, I think it's awesome what you're doing. I'm a huge fan of the podcast,
thanks, man.
of your
Thank
playing,
you.
huge fan.
Appreciate
Of,
it.
you know, appreciate you for just hanging out and shooting the
I
shit.
man,
Uh,
I really appreciate the invitation, and I'm happy to be hanging out and talking, man.
it's kind of fun. I've been trying to talk to a lot of Texas people, so I'm talking to Chris McQueen later,
Oh,
and
nice, nice.
dude, monster. I think I got Peter Bernstein tomorrow too. We'll
Oh,
see
nice,
how that works. Yeah, dude, I'm a huge fan of him. I'm like,
nice, man.
I don't know how he said yes.
Good, man. Well, it's a pleasure, brother. Thanks for inviting me, and
Thank you. And I wish I was as diligent as you were as releasing these every day, but it'll probably be like 2 weeks or something. But I'll shoot you the video so we can do a little cross promotion. But again,
yeah, man, it's whatever works for you. Like what I would say is important is whatever routine you have, you stick to it. Even if it's like one post a week,
yeah, that's
but do
pretty
it.
much what I've been falling into is like
Yeah,
I've been doing a song every 2 or 3 days or 4 days or something, and then doing a video in between that. So it's like okay, like a video or two a week, and then a song
it
a week,
works.
2 songs a week, and then I'll do a live show every Friday. So it's like I kind of just weaves in and out of whichever one's more productive. But
Exactly. You find your groove, man.
yeah, but thank you, dude. I hope you have a great day.
Man,
Good luck with
thank you
your
too,
podcast
man.
today.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks for having me, brother.